Hello everyone, this is Tim, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about an idea that was generated from a RPGNet thread that I read years ago. The title of that thread was The Seventh Age of Middle-earth, and the idea was that it was modern day times, but for some reason the fantasy races came out of hiding, hibernation, stasis, that sort of thing. So there was elves, dwarves, orcs, and so forth that had sprung into the picture. And it was modern day. So that was the idea of the setting, and someone was going to run that, and I thought it was pretty wild. Like modern day Middle Earth is basically what the idea was. So the other day I think I was at work, and I had some free time, and I was actually drawing up a monster for Andrew Wood for his RPG, and I was just thinking about the idea of making a setting that was quote unquote modern, but also had fantasy elements to it, monsters, that's maybe like the supernatural. But as most modern day settings are made, they're usually made with the real world in mind. And what I was thinking of was doing a setting that was modern in like technology, culture, that sort of thing, but with some changes, where it wouldn't be like just a different version of Earth. It would be an entirely different planet, different plane, whatever the idea I came up with was. And so there wouldn't be like San Francisco, Pittsburgh, New York, none of that stuff. There would be different cities, different towns, different states, different countries. And I also wanted to do it with different religions, not like the modern day religions, but fantasy religions, just different pantheons, whatever I can come up with. So I guess modern is a term that I'm using, but it's kind of defined differently. I guess modern is more about culture, technology, and convenience, where you have a lot of, we tend to have some free time. But that's sort of modern, not necessarily an alternate version of Earth, like the World of Darkness does, where it's basically Earth, but it's different. It's almost like it's a alternate dimension, like sort of bizarro world of the real world, with vampires and werewolves and so forth running around. And I guess there would be that sort of thing too, but there'd be more emphasis on unique monsters and like fantasy monsters that came out of hiding or whatever. So I'll just put this out there just to see what you guys think. What do you think of the task? I guess it'd be kind of monumental, of making a modern day type setting that has roads, vehicles, various kingdoms, governments, countries, and then throwing some fantasy elements and I guess supernatural elements in there as well. So it would be a modern setting with vehicles, all that good stuff. And I put this up on a thread on Google Plus, and someone's like, well, that sounds kind of like Shadowrun if Shadowrun was kind of tuned down a little bit with all the tech. And that got me thinking that to make it easier on myself, if I wanted to make a setting like this, I could have less cities, I could have more small towns, more rural, and just a lower population in general. So that would be, there'd be a lot of wild terrain, and with like paths, not paths, but I guess roads. There were fewer in number, so that would be less work to do. So it's just an idea that I thought, and in the past I've done those RPG location videos, which in a lot of ways I think could be little glimpses of this sort of setting, where I have run down places and so forth that I've been doing videos on. But it's just got me thinking that that might be something kind of interesting to poke around with, think about. I don't know, the idea of being in a modern type setting with different religions, just that in and of itself I think is kind of a cool idea, where maybe you could just have an alternate version of Earth and just change the religions, and then just try to think out how that would change things. How would that influence politics and relationships between countries? My son's running around the kitchen here, which you're hearing in the background. But, I don't know. If you have any thoughts on modern settings, and replacing the modern day religions with religions that never existed, like fantasy religions. Let me know about that. If you have any ideas on incorporating fantasy races into a modern setting, let me know about that. And there's just one final note that I had for this. I don't have a link for it, but a friend of mine showed me a series of videos once where this guy was painting squares. And he had this deck to randomize things. And he would have these, like, the same square he would sometimes paint over, like, 5, 10, 20 different times as things would change over time. So he's done these squares of painting cities and towns and walls, and he has, like, it's like this white plague that kind of goes around and kills things. But that kind of influenced me as well. Like, that also is a modern setting. It has roads and walls and so forth. And, I don't know, it just got me thinking that it would be kind of fun. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts. This would be like a modern-day setting, world-building ramble. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching.